From the iShin Broadcast Studio, it's the Tool Time Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Tech Shop's Tool Time Podcast. I'm Eric Garba, ASE Certified Master Automobile Technician and the editor of Tech Shop. Now, you might see here, we've got some really cool stuff on the workbench today. You might be thinking, what is this great looking stuff? This is part of NAPA's TradeWear program, TradeWear initiative. And joining us today to tell us all about it and to talk about the industry is Danny Huffaker, the Senior Vice President of Product and Marketing at NAPA. We're so glad Danny can join us today for this, so let's get started. So Danny, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, Eric, absolutely. So I lead the product and marketing teams here at NAPA Auto Parts. So I've been here a little over 4 years, and I really spent a lot of time focused with the teams, built out the category team over the last 4 years. And then I guess earlier this year, I took over responsibility for the marketing team as well. So category teams, full responsibility for all of our supplier relationships, all our products, our product offerings, really that general management role. And then the marketing team, really, how do we drive demand generation and how do we really invest in our NAPA brand?
That is awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Danny. So let's talk a little bit about the automotive industry. Now, everybody's probably thinking they get some really cool stuff here on this toolbox in front of me. But before we get to that, can you talk a little bit about the workforce challenges facing the automotive repair industry, and also, the challenges facing the current generation of younger folks who are making, their critical career decisions at this point in their life?
Yeah, no, look, absolutely. So there's a technician shortage coming. So the industry is going to need about 800,000 technicians by 2027. To come into the industry, because a lot of folks are retiring, and the trade schools are only putting out about 100,000 in that time period. So that's creating a clear gap. That gap could result in, it's obviously going to result in labor shortages, but longer wait times for vehicles, things of that nature. So it's a problem the industry has identified, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the work we're doing to address it. But it's a real shortage. But the interesting thing is, when you look at this generation that's coming into the workforce, Gen Z, there's actually a positive trend that's converging these two elements. Gen Z is they're starting to become more critical of a 4-year degree, the 4-year degree path. They see the rising cost of 4-year tuitions. They see the lowering of job placements. And they're really starting to see an opportunity to get out into the workforce and develop a career that's meaningful, where they can make really good money right away with a much lower tuition cost. I think the average cost of a trade school is 4 times less than a 4-year school. And so there's a lot of desire by Gen Zs to get into the workforce sooner and do things with their hands. So it's an interesting couple of trends that we're seeing here. And I think it could make for a really good situation where we can address that labor shortage or that technician shortage.
Yeah, absolutely. That is, such a popular topic these days. As you said, there's such a shortage of technicians coming into the field, and it's great to hear that there's so much focus around that to improve on that situation. A lot of us get older. What are we going to do when we need somebody to fix our vehicles? And the Gen Z, as you said, these younger generations, maybe they haven't grown up with the same opportunities that we have, being involved with vehicles and fixing cars, and getting them interested in the industry certainly is a huge topic. And along those lines, can you tell us about the launch of TradeWear? You can see we've got some of it right here, and how it's geared to embrace what's been referred to as the tool belt generation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And look, the Gen Zers are embracing, like we said earlier, these career paths where they can work with their hands, and they're earning that name, the tool belt generation. So it's good to see, and that's really where TradeWear comes in. Is we want to embrace this. As these Gen Zers thinking about their path forward, they don't really have the same opportunities for school pride as you see at some of these colleges and universities. And I went to an SEC school, and I was actually just on campus for a football game. Everybody's wearing the school colors, and everyone has a sense of pride that's identified with that. And so what this program really is about is bringing that sense of pride and school spirit to the trades and to the trade schools, giving them a chance to wear their I guess their pride on their sleeve, if you will, and display what they're doing and what their career path is.
Yeah, that's really a really cool viewpoint, Danny, and I'm glad you shared that. I never really thought about it from that aspect. And like you said, you went to an SEC school. I grew up in Columbus and went to a technical school, but Ohio State was right around the corner. So we all had Ohio State, for our team spirit. And yep. So that's a great point that you go into these trade schools, you don't have the same thing. And, giving these younger generations, something to identify with and something to get excited about in this automotive industry is really cool. So now, kind of getting to what I'm sure people are just chomping at the bit to hear about this really cool stuff we have here on the toolbox. Can you tell us about the specific clothing that's available, and tell us about this NAPA TradeWear line, and some of the unique designs?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, so we wanted to move quickly on this, so we got a focus group together and did some research, right, to tell us, okay, what types of gear are folks looking for? And they're not looking for crew neck sweaters and quarter zips and stuff that you wear in an office environment or on a campus classroom where you're not using your hands. They want gear that they can do their work in, that they can use when they're that has real utility, that they can use when they're working on vehicles. And so that's where Dickies came in. We decided to partner with this iconic workwear brand, and they had a shared interest as well. They're really focusing on closing the technician gap. That's a brand kind of like you think about NAPA. NAPA's a legacy brand that's been around a long time, and we're focusing our brand with the Gen Zers. Dickies is doing the same thing. It's a great utility work brand that's been around, and they're really focused on the Gen Zers. So it's been a perfect match for us in working with them. So also to bring it even more home to the folks that we're trying to create this gear for, we partnered with the video game artist Stephen Bliss. He's a designer of a lot of elements in the gaming culture, and that culture is big with the Gen Zers and the folks that are being interested in the technical aspect or the technical school. So that is really that combination has really allowed us to bring that gear that you see there to life in a way that really resonates with these up and coming technicians. And so really the collection is 4 pieces. The main piece is the workwear jacket. It's built for the shop floor. And then there's a hoodie. I see you've got some of this stuff there that can be worn both at work and then when they're not working, when they're hanging out with their friends, and then a beanie, just for everyday wear. And we've also got a T-shirt that goes in there. So we wanted to come up with a line that we felt like the students would be really excited to wear.
That is awesome. Yeah, and this is great stuff. This is really cool looking stuff here. And like you said, the Dickies name, I mean, that's fantastic to see that you've partnered with Dickies. Way back when I started, which was longer ago than I want to even think about. But Dickies was one of the first things that when we're getting your uniforms to work in the shop, and when you're learning about durable clothing, I mean, Dickies is a name that is widely recognized, been around for a long time, just like NAPA. We all grew up knowing those two names, and so it's a great partnership, I'm sure, and something people know is high quality clothing. And then you mentioned Stephen Bliss here, and I mean, this is just really awesome artwork, and what a cool decision to do that. And I have to admit, I'm Gen X, and I didn't grow up in the video games so much. I mean, maybe Pac-Man and Space Invaders back in, old arcade, but, not a lot of these modern games. And so when I saw Stephen Bliss, I looked it up, and I will tell you, for anybody that's watching, I mean, this artwork is fantastic. You go out to his website, and it's just phenomenal talent, and just so what a great partnership that you've got going on here, Danny.
As a fellow Gen Xer, I had to do the same thing, and I was blown away when I saw what he did. It's the games that the kids play now are a lot more intricate than when you and I were chasing Pac-Man around.
Absolutely. Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Galaga, I'm sure you know them all. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, this is a great stuff, and what talent! So what a great partnership. So, on top of this NAPA TradeWear, and really having a great approach to getting these younger technicians and younger folks involved in the industry. Can you talk a little bit about NAPA's long-term goal to combat the technician shortage and help these younger generations find success in the industry, like maybe some of the other NAPA programs you have going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to. And, as we keep talking about the legacy of the NAPA brand, the Dickies brand. I mean, we're celebrating our 100-year anniversary this year. And as we do that, we want to make sure that NAPA and the industry are set up for success for the next 100 years. And so we're really attacking the technician shortage at every single angle. Some other examples is we have our NAPA Auto Tech Accelerator program. Really, really cool stuff. We're leveraging AR and VR training along with AI to create this virtual environment that really, and again, that's why it's called the accelerator. It speeds up the ability for technicians to build these skills because they're in a augmented reality environment, and so they get to trial and error, do a lot of things without they can make mistakes and they're not breaking anything. There's no risk of injury or anything like that, and so that's been a first to market program that has really helped us train more students. And then especially as you get into the more advanced technological aspects of automobiles, ADAS, EVs, it's been really, really effective at training there. And we're able, because again, it's a digital platform to do this across the globe. So a lot of good work that's being done there. We've also set up our Tools of the Trade website. It's really a comprehensive digital hub that connects aspiring technicians with scholarship information, career pathway, basically everything they need. Folks that come in that are interested in automotive career, it's everything they need to really get going. And then, of course, I know a lot of talk about our Carlisle Tools program, and I know you guys had Joe Sabo on here a while back to talk about that. That is something that, that's one of our biggest investments. We have reimagined our entire product line, done a full launch of this product line with a ton of market research, and the entire line is geared toward the Gen Z technician. Everything from the Venom green color, it's not your traditional Napa blue. Research showed that color really appeals to the younger technicians, and I've seen it firsthand out in the field talking to techs. We do work with the YES program with NHRA that really is working on getting high school students into the technical programs, and the folks that I talk to, the young technicians absolutely love it. And the quality level of that Carlisle tool line is as good as anything on the market, but it's more affordable, not only from an initial product cost, but we've got financing programs available that make it much more affordable for the technicians over the life of their career. So Carlisle Tools has been a really, really big one. And then also within Carlisle Tools, our Max Impact Scholarship. So we're offering several $2,500 monthly scholarships out there for technicians. And then we combine that with our Carlisle Tools. We set them up with a kit to get started. So that's been really, really popular and successful. And again, it's all about removing barriers, right? Make sure that this field is accessible for people that want to get into it. And that's been a big focus through that program.
Boy, I love to hear that, Danny. I mean, that is really great to hear about all these programs that NAPA has. Again, dating myself back when I started, you kind of just get thrown to the wolves, get your own tools, figure it out on your own, put yourself through school and just get there. And that's what we did. And I have to look up to these younger folks these days that are getting involved in it, because it was a purely mechanical thing, when I got started. When you grow up fixing your bike and your motorcycles and things like that, it just kind of becomes natural. Well, now you're thrown into this world of these electronics and systems like ADAS and ABS and all these computer controlled systems that it takes a lot to learn about those systems and get familiar with them. And there's a lot for technicians to get started in this industry. So it certainly is great to hear that they have the support from somebody like NAPA with all these different programs that can really help them get started and kind of give them some mentors along the way too with a lot of these programs. So, and along those lines, what type of response have you received so far, on these NAPA initiatives, both from the industry as well as some of the Gen Z students who have decided to pursue a career as an automotive technician?
Yeah, the response has been fantastic. On the industry side, strong alignment, working with our partners to amplify the message with our shared commitment to changing perceptions and fueling the career pipeline with these automotive technicians. And that's our partners in industry, suppliers. We've also heard from, Universal UTI. We're partnering heavily with the training schools, and they're really excited about the programs we can put together to help them create a better experience, to help them recruit more students. And it's been really, really good. And the TradeWear piece has been just really, really well received. It's been the schools love it. The up and coming technicians love it. And we had a giveaway just to put some of this stuff out in the market, and we ran out of stock in 2 days. And so it was it was clear that all of our research was pointing in the right direction, and there's a need. And so the team's currently working on a second release later in October because of this demand. And so, yeah, we think it's landed really well with the industry.
So, Danny, this is fantastic stuff. This is just obviously a winner. As you've said, it just pretty much flew off the shelves when you released it. So, great response to this program. And so if you've got somebody who's looking at being a technician and wants to take advantage of this, how can they get a hold of some of this merchandise? And you said you've got something later in October. How long do you plan on doing this? And again, how can somebody get a hold of this?
Yeah, no, great question. Look, we plan on doing this moving forward, and we're going to gauge the demand for it, and we'll continue to feed that demand. So for the folks that are interested, earlier I mentioned our Tools of the Trade website, where you can get all the information about the industry. That's actually where you can go to find out about the NAPA TradeWear. So that's napaonline.com/tools of the trade.
That is awesome. Well, hey, Danny, again, thank you so much for joining. This is really exciting. This is great stuff, and appreciate your insight on the industry and sharing all this great information with our viewers.
Sounds good, Eric. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.